international news now. More breaking news coming in. Now, what we are learning is that the Canadian province of Ontario has now applied 25% electricity surcharge to the United States in response to Trump's tariff war. This also comes as Mark Carney was elected as the next Liberal Party leader and will succeed Justin Trudeau as the next Canadian Prime Minister. Remember, we've seen all those scenes coming in from Canada where several convenience stores have now dumped American products from their shelves. And now what we are learning is that the Canadian province of Ontario has now applied a 25%, that's quite a hefty surcharge on power to the United States. To get more details, I'm joined by my colleague Siddhant Mishra on the broadcast. So Siddhant, a new face of Canada at the helm of Canada, Mark Carney, now elected as the leader of the Liberal Party. He is set to succeed Justin Trudeau. So some renewed kind of Canadian, if you would say, nationalism when it comes to the tariff war against Donald Trump?
Well, that's right, Ayushman. In fact, the provinces in Canada are quite independent, in their decision making. Perhaps, but you rightly said there is definitely going to be the policy change after a new leader being elected by the Liberal Party, and perhaps he is definitely going to be more strict towards the tariffs that Trump administration has been imposing on Canada. And perhaps the reflection of that is very much visible. Now we are getting to know that Canadian province of Ontario applies 25% electricity surcharge to United States in response to Trump's tariff war. In fact, while announcing that, the 25% surcharge on electricity sold to New York, Minnesota, and Michigan starts today. Ontario Premier Doug Ford reiterated that if the U.S. escalates the trade war with Canada, Ontario is willing to completely turn off electricity supply to the U.S. Now, there is no doubt that Canada's and America's strategic interests are very much aligned. And in fact, these two nations have been operating as twin nations since the very beginning. And Donald Trump's administration is very well aware of reciprocal tariff and action from Canada. And this is just a beginning. In fact, this is the second such development that we are getting to know. In fact, before this, there were tariffs imposed on Elon Musk's EV also by one of the provinces in Canada. So there is this sentiment against America brewing in Canada that what the decisions that Donald Trump is taking is anti-Canada, and these tariffs are going to hurt the economy of Canada. And whoever will take over as the Prime Minister of Canada, whoever wins the election, perhaps is going to be tougher on United States because it's kind of a war situation between Canada and United States now when it comes to the issue of tariffs.
Absolutely. And Siddhant, we've seen those visuals of those American products being removed from the shelves. We've seen those visuals of the American national anthem being booed in Canada. There is a revival of Canadian nationalism. And Mark Carney is a former governor of the Bank of Canada. He's a top economist who's also set to become the next Prime Minister of Canada after winning the Liberal Party leadership election. But the impression that came in from Trump as well as the MAGA universe was that any tariff against Canada would not impact America. Trump gave the impression that America was the bigger player when it came to the economic relations between the United States and Canada. But clearly, as you were pointing out, because the economies are so intertwined, any kind of counter tariff from Canada will impact everyday Americans.
Well, that's there, Ayushman. And in fact, Ayushman, we have been going through the reports that how these tariffs, this tariff war has already started impacting U.S. markets. Even Trump was asked this question in his last press briefing, that what about this tariff war affecting U.S. markets? To which Trump said that his voters are happy about what he's doing. His voters understand what he's doing. So Trump is still adamant. Trump still believes in this tariff war. Trump has won elections on this issue. So it's time for him to deliver. And perhaps, it has not only damaged the other countries, it is damaging United States only. Because now the countries like Europe, India and other countries are diversifying their markets. They are looking for more partners. They are looking for more markets. And in fact, the USP of US was free trade. And the US has grown on this USP. Less regulation. US was different from Europe because US had less regulation than Europe, and US survived on that. US is still growing on that policy, and now Donald Trump is completely changing it by imposing tariff on the lesser, countries from the lesser world. Perhaps is going against United States, and threatening the leaders from a democratic country. His men, Elon Musk and others, have been openly threatening. Perhaps there is a sentiment against Donald Trump's administration in US. India is one country which is handling the situation in a very matured manner. And perhaps India believes that they will be able to navigate relationship in a right way. But rest other countries like Canada, Mexico, and countries in Europe, there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of there's a lot of the fear of unpredictability is too much there.
Absolutely. And Trump is saying that his MAGA supporters are behind him when it comes to this entire tariff war. But all he needs to do is look at his own lawmakers from the Republican Party and the town halls that they are facing and the anger they are facing from the common voter, and how they're running away from those town halls as more and more protests erupt at those gatherings between Republican lawmakers and the American people. Thank you, Siddhant, for joining us on the broadcast and getting us that piece of breaking news. So that's